It's an
Well,
interesting question.
I'd buy a piece of NFT artwork, Jordan.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I'd buy a cat meme
yeah.
Crypto kitties.
500,000, and then I just go on a shopping spree.
I mean, if you want to do that, you can do it. Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of like reasons why you would want to support an artist, let's say, or like I'll buy NFTs for some reason. There's plenty of use cases for these. Do I think that they're a direct investment? I don't really know yet.
No,
a lot of mainstream attention, but does that make it an investment?
Yeah, or does that just make it a hype play for now? Because unless you are a creator or you're an artist, obviously I agree it's a great way for the art world to function, because obviously the artists make money every time the art's sold.
You get the royalties,
yeah. So unlike art at the moment, where you might sell it and then no one realizes you're any good until like you die or something like that, like you've seen with a lot of famous artists. Like I don't know, Van Gogh, for example, was the same. But what if his family, for example, then got revenues every time that painting had been sold, and like, I don't know, it sells for 20 million at auction and they get £1 million from it. So I think it's a good way for the art world to go. I can't really see it from an investment point of view.
Yeah, I mean, as you're just saying, the thing is for the artist is obviously when you put it through an auction or to someone else's website, they take a percentage off it. So obviously I'm not sure what the average percent is. That could be 5%, that could be 10%, but depending on how much your art's worth, that can be substantial. So putting it through an NFT, because once you create an NFT and anyone can make it NFT, you can't make the same one. So when you sell it, there's no auction, there's no percentage cut off it, which is a great thing if you're going into the virtual world.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting ways that you can play the NFT kind of craze. You can look at it as like a larger thing of the web becoming decentralized. So we're kind of putting the power back into the hands of the individual versus it being in the hands of some creative, industry, or let's say like an agent or some kind of publisher. It's moving away from that again, which I think is an attractive thing. But maybe one way that would be interesting is to invest in a storage solution that's decentralized. So if you think about how NFTs are now, let's say you have a Nyan cat or something, the one that sold for $500,000, right?
Ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah. So you have the image.
Every penny.
Yeah. So the actual token itself refers to a web link which hosts the actual image itself. But you're paying for an item that can only be hosted on the web as long as that company hosting it will survive. So there's no guarantee that asset that you bought is going to actually stay on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, obviously, there's some big names currently building their portfolios in NFTs. You've got Chamath, that we love. But, he's not traded in anything on the crypto scene apart from Bitcoin and this, which gives a massive incentive of obviously he knows something we may not. You've got Mark Cuban, who has been on so many podcasts now saying, this is the next thing, and he can see this being $100 billion industry in the next 15 years. And then just recently, we've seen Logan Paul, who was selling, his Pokemon cards that sold for, I think, like 5 million, something ridiculous. And Gary Vee again is another name. But I think like the reason these guys are promoting it and the reason they're emphasizing it so much is because they've got the name, and it's very easy to sell something when you've got a name. If we, for instance, me against Mark Cuban both had the same card, and we both promoted it the same way, I can guarantee his would be worth a hell of a lot more than mine. And I think that's where the big aspect comes in with NFTs. is that who is selling it and who's marketing it, because that is basically what it's based on. Because we saw Gary V with these cyberpunks. They were going for a standard price, and he tweeted just recently, purple hat. Anything with a purple hat in cyberpunks, their price went up. Yeah. So it's massively, massively influenced on big names.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, to be fair, going back to your Mark Cuban example, if Morgan Alexander signed the card, I go, oh, that's £1 million.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's the guy from the Wealth Project.
That's it.
But it does seem to be it does seem to be one of those things where for regular people like us, it's kind of just it is essentially just digitizing the art world at the moment. And obviously with that you can digitize digital artwork, which is a new area, but it's just it's like you said, it's kind of just celebrities and big names hyping up things to sell.
For general people, I think the only way people are going to make a lot of money, for instance, if I bought something, is if it's on topic with what's trending currently, or if you buy something off one of these people that is so, with LeBron James with his basketball, that's so niche that you kind of know it's going to hold its price, because you can release one of these things, 1,000 of these things, and obviously, if you release one or two, it's a lot more rare than releasing 1,000. So if you bought something on the lines of that and there's only one or two out, and for instance he retires, it's a great example of selling something like that, and that inflating in price. But other than that, I think just day to day, I think if you were just to make them, I think you're going to struggle making a lot of money on NFTs personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a creator, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. This is pretty funny. So I'm going to share a window.
I pray my connection holds. Oh, it does.
Can you guys see this window that I'm showing?
Yeah, we got it.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of the NFT marketplaces that you can see. That's called OpenSea, and you can see the top NFT token. Let's say it's a token provider. Their 7-day volume was 12,800 Ethereum. One Ethereum is $1,800 US.
Yeah.
And if you just check this out, obviously this is the top. But let's say there's here and here. We'll just look at SoRare first. If you look at what they're selling, it's just these little trading cards. So we go to sales. You can see this is what actually has sold. It's very small amounts for these like seemingly normal looking trading cards, but it adds up after you have like a bunch of these. So yeah, I don't know. And like these little things. Check this out. This sold for 44 Ethereum.
There you go, the purple hat. It's Gary V.
This is the purple hat.
That's it. And that's
why. So it sold for $79,000.
Huge influence.
So, and this is happening right now. I mean, you can see all these 21.
I can see it. I struggle. I can just see it with, if you have a sort of a rank in this, a name. I think for the people that are thinking of trading this, I think they're just going to really, really struggle, because anything that's worth value, you're going to be paying a minimum of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And we've seen stuff go for millions, and your general price view, you're not going to risk that even if you've got that.
Yeah, that I do think it's probably the future of collectibles.
Yeah.
Anything collectible is likely to be on there, but if you can't collect it in the first place, or realize that it's worth something in the first place, because you're, I know, art or art inclined, then I think you'd struggle with. Obviously, sports cards similarly actually been doing quite well. And yeah, I think that's the way it will go. But yeah, I don't see it as an investment for me at all.
No, it's a difficult one for sure.
Well, I think some ways you can play it. You can either look into coins that store files. You can invest directly in Ethereum, which is the main platform that hosts NFTs. You could potentially invest in a platform that does NFTs better than Ethereum in future. So those ways maybe, but yeah, maybe if a company does an IPO, that is a main marketplace for them. Yeah, so there's like a few ways to do it, but the way I see it, I wouldn't be going buying one of these like CryptoPunk characters with a purple hat for $40,000.
No.
I wouldn't see myself doing it, but
I think with all the crypto scene going on, this is definitely not one of my favorite. I get it, but there's just better plays for me, and for us that are out there.
Yeah.
In comparison.
And this happened before as well with
and
CryptoKitties. I don't know if you guys heard about the CryptoKitties thing, but this has happened before. It was they just weren't calling it NFTs at the time, but it was also happening and it died off and no one talks about it really anymore. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't even like, if I was to invest in Ethereum, I wouldn't do it on the basis that NFTs run off it. I mean, it does at the moment, but that could quite as easily change if Cardano becomes a lot more mainstream, whatever, they could just switch that. I know obviously Cardano equally are doing, and I know Cardano are doing, I think they're writing like a bridging thing where either you can either trade Ethereum to Cardano or something similar.
Yeah,
like
you can
that.
talk to other chains, other currencies.
Yeah.
So it's interoperable.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying previously.
I just think, I just don't see NFTs being more than a hype or great for artists. I think it is the future of probably the art world, but I don't really care about that. I've never been very arty anyway. I'm just going to sit back and then let it happen.
I mean, you can see it with the royalties. It's like you were saying with selling the artwork. It is a great aspect on that. And to be honest, like with the crypto scene now, it is all turning digital. So it's one of those things that do you get in now, but it's not necessarily a trade because you're buying a piece of art. It can be a domain name, it can be a virtual gaming item, it can even be a tweet, which you just see. I can't remember what it was, but it sold for a ridiculous amount of money. So it can be anything. So I can see it happening, and if it does turn digital, NFTs will be there. But again, it's the aspect of who is selling it, because that's I think the real deal with this. It's sort of how many followers you've got, to how many people are watching it.
It's very much for the influencer generation.
And maybe that's why they're hyping it so much, because they know themselves that they're in the position to sell it. Whereas a lot of people aren't.
Well, if you think of, for example, Gary Vee, if you think about who he is, he's a social media guy. He's a guy who really thought he pioneered TikTok, right? And he's like really behind the influencer thing and getting a big following.
That's it.
I think this is right up his alley of the power. You have the power. You can sell your things. This is something Gary Vee would absolutely endorse.
Well, he has been. I think he's obviously it's right up his street, where he likes to buy collectible things and sell them and show you.
Essentially,
show
to
himself
the common
buying
folk,
things and selling them.
He's a wheeler dealer.
It's just art trade.
And the thing is, for him, I mean, you do the same. If you bought an NFT and you're going to hype this up because you're going to get the money for it. Whether that's double your money, if that's 10x your money. This is why I think all these top names are buying in now, because they know if they can buy in so cheaply and hype this up, and they know, every year this is going to go up 5x, just as an example, in 5-10 years time, what an investment. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And this is why they're doing it now. Maybe
Yeah.
this is the game they're playing, or maybe they can see this, but
it's a flex.
I think that's why they're doing it. Yeah, it's a flex. That's what it is.
It's a flex, and not many people have the money to flex like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a small market.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it bottom out, because the whole like, for example, people are doing it at the moment because of the novelty. So the cards and the hat things and stuff like that. Unless it is, there'll come a point where, unless it's a really good piece of art or someone by someone famous or something like that, or a really, really rare piece or sports card or whatever it is, it'll be the exact same as the art world, just in digital form.
Yeah.
So like all the purple hat things would just be worthless.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you could make something, whoever it is, really rare, but the trading card, but you don't know the next day if they're going to release another trading card that's also really rare, and then the next month, or as long as it's not exactly the same, they can keep making it. So technically speaking, when you're buying it and saying, "Oh no, this is the only one that he's going to show in this kind of scene," you don't know that, and if it sells for a lot, his thoughts, as well as most people's, be like, well, if this is selling for so much, I want to keep doing this, and just rinse it until it gets to a point of actually now they're not so rare because you've made so many.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I'm pretty sure that's our mind sort of made up on NFTs, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty much.
We'll be following along very strongly on this, but
yeah, I say it's kind of just, it'll be interesting to see how it develops. But it certainly won't be a play from us at its current state, unless this grows, in which case I'll just put out a tweet and I'll already have a bank of purple hats or whatever, and you can all buy them for 70